It was one of those quiet Friday nights when the world outside seemed asleep. But 16-year-old Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something or someone was awake with her. Her parents had gone out of town for the weekend to attend a family wedding. It wasn't the first time Emma had been left alone, but tonight felt different. The silence in the house wasn't peaceful, it was heavy, as though the walls themselves were holding their breath. She tried to brush it off. "It's just my imagination," she whispered, curling up on the couch with popcorn and her favorite horror movie playing in the background. Ironically, the irony wasn't lost on her watching a horror film while being home alone. Typical teenage bravado. Halfway through the movie, the lights flickered. A small zap echoed through the living room, and the screen went black. The house sank into darkness. Emma sighed, trying to laugh it off. "Perfect timing," she muttered, reaching for her phone to turn on the flashlight. But when she unlocked it, she noticed something strange. Her phone notifications showed 3 missed calls, all from her own number. Her heart stuttered. What the? The first thought was that it had to be a glitch. Maybe a network issue. But before she could think too deeply, a faint tapping came from upstairs, rhythmic, deliberate, like fingers on glass. She froze. The sound came again. Tap, tap, tap. Emma's throat tightened. She turned off the flashlight and stood perfectly still, listening. It was coming from her bedroom, the room she had left with the window slightly open to let the evening air in. Grabbing a kitchen knife, she moved cautiously toward the stairs. Every creak of the floorboard seemed louder than her heartbeat. As she reached the top, she saw something that made her skin crawl. The faint glow of her bedside lamp was on. She was sure she'd turned it off before coming downstairs. Her breath trembled. She stepped closer. The tapping had stopped. Then she saw it. A shadow, tall, slender, reflected faintly in the mirror beside her bed. Someone was standing near the window, perfectly still. Emma clapped a hand over her mouth to stop a scream. Her heart thundered as her phone buzzed again. She looked down. Unknown number. "Why did you turn the light off?" She dropped the phone in panic. The sound made the figure move, not fast, not jerky, but a slow, deliberate turn toward her. She bolted down the hallway, nearly tripping over her own feet as heavy footsteps followed behind. She ran into her parents' room and locked the door. Her hands shook as she dialed 911. But before the call could connect, the line went dead. No signal. "Please, please," she whispered, looking for another way out. There was a window, but it was 2 stories high. Jumping wasn't an option. She hid in the closet, clutching her knife, trying to control her breathing. The house was silent again, deathly silent, until the doorknob started to turn. Click, click, click. Someone was on the other side, testing the lock. Emma's heart raced so fast she thought she'd pass out. She could hear faint breathing, raspy, close. Then the voice came. Low, male, and whispering through the door. Why are you hiding, Emma? Her name, he knew her name. Tears welled up in her eyes as the lock jiggled violently. She backed deeper into the closet, praying for the police to arrive, praying for anyone to hear her. Then silence again. Minutes passed like hours. Finally, she gathered enough courage to peek through the closet slats. The door was still closed. Maybe he'd left. Slowly, she opened the closet door. The bedroom was empty, or so it seemed. The window was wide open now, curtains blowing in the cold night air. Relief washed through her in shaky waves. She picked up her phone again, one bar of signal. She quickly called 911 and whispered her address. But as she turned to grab her bag, something caught her eye. The full-length mirror across the room. There, standing right behind her, was the same tall, faceless figure reflected in the glass. Emma screamed and swung the knife backward, spinning around, but there was nothing there. The mirror cracked down the middle with the force of her strike, splintering her reflection into 1,000 distorted pieces. The police arrived 10 minutes later, breaking down the front door. They found Emma trembling in the corner, knife still in hand, the mirror shattered. No sign of forced entry, no footprints, no intruder. But when one of the officers went to close the broken window, he froze. Carved faintly into the wooden frame were 4 words: jagged, childlike, and fresh. See you next time. Weeks passed. Emma moved in with her aunt in another city, trying to heal. But every night before bed, she checked every lock, every window. Still, the nightmares came, the reflection, the voice, the tapping. One night, unable to sleep, she stood before her new bedroom mirror, staring at her own tired face. Behind her, faintly in the reflection, she thought she saw movement. Just a flicker, a blur. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Unknown number. You forgot to say goodnight. Moral/message. Never ignore your instincts. When something feels wrong, trust it, because sometimes what we call imagination is a warning we're not meant to ignore.